So right now we're in the process of making our apple turnovers. I know this, like we said before, this meal is kind of like a huge mixture, egg souffle and apple turnovers. But as we said, it's not for the same meal. He's preparing the egg souffle for a breakfast meal tomorrow. So the apple turnovers, we took 2 yellow delicious or golden delicious apples. Cut them up, and we're hoping that it's enough for 4. As you can see, there's 1 already in process over there, and there's 3 more over here. We're hoping that it's enough for 4. It seems like it would be. You could also use Granny Smith or whatever is in season, or I guess whatever kind of apple suits your fancy. So once you have cut those up, the skin should be peeled off. I attempted to peel off some skin with a vegetable peeler, and it did not work. It took forever, so you're probably best off just be using a knife. So then you just do like a rough chop of them. Then you would zest an orange, and we put the juice of an entire orange in there, didn't we?
Yeah, an entire orange. Which would, I mean, that can vary. Like if you don't want to do an entire orange, like ours are a little juicy, I guess you could say. So if you don't want to do an entire orange, like just do half. But now what I'm doing is I'm filling the. You can buy the puff pastry dough. Like I bought mine at like my supermarket. Like you don't need to go anywhere like fancy to buy your puff pastry dough. As you can see, mine's like kind of spilling out a little bit. So I could probably have stood to like roll it out a little more because you do want to roll the dough to make it bigger. So this is my first attempt. So at this one, so this one might be a little screwed up. This will be the one that I eat. So I'm gonna actually probably just thin it out a little bit more. All right, fill it a little less so it's not so
like runny.
Right.
But in addition to the apples in the mixture and the juice from an orange, we put some dried cherries. There was some flour.
I'm not a huge fan of cherries, so if you can leave that, if you want to leave that out, you can. But or you can use like I think about using dried cranberries as well. So either one really would work.
We used some flour to kind of bind the mixture together, and then there was sugar, correct?
Yeah, and I attempted to use brown sugar, but the brown sugar I had on hand was like crusty and dry. So we didn't use brown sugar.
So we had to go back to regular sugar, which is what the original recipe called for. We were trying to think outside the box, but didn't work out. And then some pumpkin pie spice.
And then cinnamon and sugar. Like you can buy the cinnamon and sugar mixture, which is what I did. Otherwise, you could just do like obviously it's like separate, just cinnamon. And
then a tiny, tiny dot of salt because I guess pretty much everything in this world needs salt or it's not good. And then that's where we are right now. We're putting it into the puff pastry. They've just been cut into squares, and once they get stuffed, they get folded into a triangle. And you can use a fork to make pretty little marks. So.
And you use. Did we explain the egg wash yet?
Oh no.
Because you use the egg wash to kind of like seal. Like it works out so well on this one because obviously it's like completely runny. But you use the egg wash to like seal in like the juices to the puff pastry. Like again, and you're not looking for these to be like super like. Well, at least we're not because we're just hungry.
Well, I'm gonna be eating them in like 1 second, right. Probably with a huge scoop of ice cream on it. So I'm not gonna too much care what it looks like.
Right. So hopefully they turn out. This is my first attempt at making any sort of thing with puff pastry. So like. Hopefully it turns out, but if it doesn't, it's going to be at really no loss because I'm like such a fan of like dough that I'd probably just leave this like it is.
And one last thing to let you all know is that the oven has been preset to 350. We weren't too sure about that, but we kind of figured 350 is the standard in baking, so we're just going to go with that.
But again, that's what we're all about. Like if you don't know, you just
improvise.
Go with it.
And although baking is kind of more of a science than cooking, so
this isn't really baking. You're really just baking. All you're baking here is the shell. And it's already made. It's not like you made it from scratch. Like it's already made.
Yeah, there's not really any measurements involved in this.
Like baking, yeah, is a science. Like you're baking like a cake or like cookies, but I feel like this is a little more leeway of like what you can and cannot do.
And we're putting it in until they turn golden brown, and we'll let everyone know how they turn out.